Mm. Hello and welcome to the Red Bra Project. We are here with episode number 46, and we're so excited to bring you our guest tonight. And I have my beautiful co-host with me tonight, Shauna. Hey.
Hi, thanks for welcoming me back. It's exciting to be here.
It's so
I'm
exciting
so
to have
excited for our
you.
guest tonight.
I know. So our guest, which we are going to pass the mic, so to speak, to her here in a second, has actually been nominated by one of our other guests. So all the way back in episode number 36, we sat down with the amazing Lisa Michelle. She is representing and supporting women in aviation, and she has a beautiful story. So you have to go back and watch her episode, but she has nominated the incredible Miss Ashley Steed to be with us tonight. And so we are so excited to jump in, learn more about Ashley and her story, and kind of why she's here with us on the Red Bra Project. So Ashley, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're from?
Hi, Renee and Shauna. Thanks for having me. Really happy to be here. Let's just start with how I know Lisa. Lisa and I met as flight attendants at WestJet, and both of us have kind of branched off into different avenues of aviation since then. She became an AME, and I'm working on my commercial pilot's license. So that's the gist of it, I guess. I am going about it in a bit of a unique way because I am still a flight attendant. And a lot of the schools in the south of Canada are full. I take periodic leaves of absence from flying at WestJet, and then I go and I'll fly up to the Northwest Territories, and I'll spend a month and a half there and plow through my hours that way in chunks like that. And then I do my ground school all online, and so it's a bit of an adventure. It's a bit of a trek, but it's what's going to get it done the quickest for me. And so
awesome. So where did this passion for flying begin? Because I mean, becoming a flight attendant first, and is this something that you traveled a lot, maybe?
Yeah, I don't really know. It happened totally by accident because I actually started my aviation career at this airline that I'm doing my license at, I'm doing my training at. It's called Northwestern Air Lease. The flight school is Terry Harold School of Aviation. And just after university, I didn't know what I wanted to do or where I wanted to go. And my dad's from the territories, and I have family up there, and they were like, oh, go do that because why not? So just go on an adventure and figure things out. And I got up there, and I was like, I didn't know how I was going to survive in a small town in the north. And so I was like, I better work for the airline so I can escape to Edmonton every once in a while. So I got a job with them as a cargo agent, and which was really cool and just kind of introduced me to dangerous goods and all that. And I had thought about pilot at that point briefly, but it just, I was 22. All the pilots were guys. Very intimidating, especially when you're 22, to try and break into a boys' club. But one of the pilots was dating a WestJet flight attendant. Her name was Nancy, and she would come up on her days off to see him. And she said, "What are you doing here?"
Are you working in cargo?
Yeah, he was like, "You're friendly and you speak French. Like, you should be a flight attendant." And at that moment, I thought, why the heck am I not a flight attendant? So then I applied, and 2 weeks later I had the job, and the rest is history. So, and then with, wanting to be a pilot, it just, I kind of shoved the idea in the back of my head, but then now I've been a flight attendant for 12 years, and, it's a lot of fun, and I work with great people, and it is exciting and different every day, but it's also a lot of the same. And I think most people crave a challenge eventually when you get kind of comfortable in your surroundings, and you want a little bit more. And and I just thought, well, why not? And then, but at the same time, there's that little bit of fear, that little bit, I don't know if I can do it. It's kind of a big deal flying an airplane. And big responsibility. And then I worked with a female pilot, and was talking about it. And she had gone to school and instructed at Moncton Flight College, and I live in Fredericton. And one of her students was instructing at Moncton Flight College, and she said, I'm going to text my friend Krista. You're going to email them and set up a flight. You just have to go up. You just need to go up. And so I did. I went for my discovery flight with Krista. And what was hilarious is I knew Krista, and I didn't realize I knew Krista until I got there. She had also worked for WestJet, and I had met her through WestJet. It's just, I don't know, it's crazy. It's a crazy network of people. And so I went up with Krista, and I knew when we got in the plane, I was like, I'm either going to love this and it's going to take over my life, or I'm going to hate it. And I loved it. So, and then that's just kind of been my focus ever since. So that'll be a year ago in January that I did that. So, yeah.
That is so cool. A year ago in January, to think about, and just to listen to you tell your story. You started in cargo, somebody planted a seed and was like, hey, what are you doing? Why aren't you doing this? And you thought about it. You're like, yeah, why not? That is really, really neat, especially to be able to work in different areas of aviation and kind of take that with you. And when you become a pilot, you're going to have so much appreciation for your entire team, the ones that, you may not even speak to when you get on a plane and fly it. So.
Yeah, absolutely. It is really cool because you do, like, as a cargo agent, especially in the North, they're carrying a lot of different dangerous goods. But then, as a flight attendant in the South, you're not, I don't see a lot of dangerous goods now, but we still have to do dangerous goods training, and we still have to have all that. So I kind of had all that background. And now going back into the North, it's like I have that sort of previous knowledge, and, I have a better idea what I'm getting into if I do decide to take my career up there. But yeah, aviation is, it's a wonderful industry in that it's huge, but it's really small at the same time. So
yeah, it sounds like you've had a lot of overlap with people. You're like, I know them from here and here.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. And I've lived all over the country. So, so I know flight attendants, pilots, customer service agents, just everywhere that you just, you run into, and, people move within the company as well. So, maybe someone was a customer service agent. I knew them as that, but then one day I walk on the plane and I'm working with them as a flight attendant or a pilot, cause it just, yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool industry that way.
Very, very cool. So you mentioned you're from Canada, so it's good for our viewers to know where we're all tuning in from tonight, which we've had a handful of guests from Canada, so that's pretty awesome. So how did you, and I little back kind of behind the scenes insight, I loved your answers to this, but when you felt that fear to make the jump or to make that first kind of actionable move, I don't even know if that's a word, Shauna, you can tell me I'm making it up. How did you deal with the fear? How did you kind of decide, yeah, I'm just going to do it? Or how do you deal with fear?
Well, dealing with fear is something that I think takes a lot of practice, and you get better with it with time. But the truth about fear is it's an illusion. It's not really there. We put it there. It doesn't really, it's based on our beliefs about ourselves, whether it's, I'm not worthy, I'm not smart enough, I'm not this enough, I'm not, what do people think? It's these beliefs that we, that we've grown up learning, that have just been, infused in our DNA, that that we truly believe, and that's where our fears stem from. But all of these beliefs, a belief is just a thought you keep thinking.
So have you always felt that way about fear, or is this something that you've learned?
Oh, it's something I've definitely learned over time and through practice and through breaking things down. Because you got to step back, because it's an emotion, right? And when you step back and use your logical mind, just for example, I'm coming up on my exam. I technically could walk in tomorrow and write my exam for my private license and have my private license and be done with it. But I put it off and I put it off and I put it off because I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'm ready. I don't want to fail, and it's that fear of failure. But then I sit down and you think, well, why am I afraid to fail? What's so bad about failing? What would be the worst case scenario? I walk in there and fail. What happens? I go back in 2 weeks and I try again. No one needs to know. And even if they do know, do I care? Not really that much. And then I'm going to do it again, and then I'll pass, and then that'll be the end of it. And, so it's like, what is there really to be afraid of other than what I've built up in my mind? And that's the truth. I truly believe that is it for all fear. It's an illusion that we create for ourselves, and it's a way that we hold ourselves back, and in my experience, the very best things that have happened to me in my life happen on the other side of that fear. So that's,
it's such good advice, and hopefully, the viewers can take that too, because it is something that you have to teach yourself.
It is. It does take practice.
It can control you in so many ways. So the way that you've broken it down, I think, is so helpful for people to understand it.
Good. Yeah. And, and I think if I hadn't been afraid, maybe I would have been a pilot when I was 22 instead of waiting until I was 35, or maybe I would have taken on something else. Who knows? There's no point in breaking that down, but it's, fear can control your life if you let it. So.
Yeah. And your journey has taken you exactly the way it was supposed to, and especially with these connections and how you've gotten there and things. But we're going to go a little deeper. I'm going to ask you to kind of share with us how you would break down fear. And, it doesn't have to be something huge. It could just be in general, but I love that you have such kind of a systematic way of looking at it, that it's like you take the emotion out and this is the process. And when you take the emotion out, anything's achievable.
Yeah, well, exactly. When you sit with it and you say, what am I actually afraid of? And I think for most people, it's fear of what other people will think. Yeah. Fear of judgment, right? And that's a tough one, but that's something you have to come to terms with as an individual, I think, is learning to not care what other people think. Because other people are really just worried about what everyone thinks too. And worried less about, no one else is worried about it, except for you. And it really doesn't matter. And anyone who has a negative opinion about something that you do really isn't worth your time. So, and that's just what it boils down to. And failure is it's just a lesson. It just means you have to practice more, or, you have to try again, or, sometimes failure is just the universe saying, not right now.
Yeah.
I think you have such a good perspective and positive attitude on everything. But I think it is great. And I think, you said maybe now at 35, you're being a pilot. I think that a lot of what you're saying does come with age and that maturity, and being okay with, I don't want judgmental people in my life. Like, if these people are going to judge me because I failed, then maybe they're not supposed to be with me.
Totally not.
But when you're 22, that's a lot harder to grapple with, because that's your core friends, and you're still coming to terms with who you are.
Yeah. And like 35-year-old me would love to just sit down and hug 22-year-old me. It's totally going to be fine.
I tell people that all the time. Like, if I could talk to young Shauna.
Yeah. Totally. Like, what would you say? I'd say relax and enjoy it. It's going to be fine. And it's going to be a lot of fun, So, and that's, yeah, like one of your other questions, actually, that kind of brings me to that is, what's the best advice you've been given? And it's enjoy the process, enjoy.
You're speaking about two really tough things to kind of learn through experience. And I love this. So enjoy the process. We hear it and we say, yeah, I need to start enjoying the process more. But even just through kind of what you share yourself, and whether it be in an Instagram story or a post or whatever, you talk about that. And I think that's so important, because it can be so easy to put your eye on the goal and be so frustrated where you are at this moment. And you are just so miserable in your life right now because you want to get there. And so I love that you are a big advocate of that.
Yeah. Well, like, even so, pilots as an example. So, a lot of pilots and a lot of the younger pilots that the airline up north, they're all like, they want to get to WestJet or Air Canada, the two big airlines up here. They want, end goal, right? But I know so many pilots at WestJet and Air Canada who dream of their bush flying days when they were flying float planes and when they were flying on skis and, and they long for those days back again, right? So it like, we almost wish things away when we have that, that view in sight. We almost wish things away, and you forget to enjoy that process. There is, you have your dreams, but there's joy to be had in their creation, and in that, it's just like, like with me, like I when I graduated high school, this was not my plan, but if you pay attention, and then, these opportunities, they show up, and it's like, yeah, why don't I do that? I mean, it wasn't the plan, but maybe something better's over there, So, and if you just kind of let go and let life happen, like the universe always has way better plans than we do, way better. So, you just kind of have to relax and let it happen. So yeah, that's, I constantly remind myself of that, I can't be there right now, but what's awesome about this moment. So, yeah.
Good advice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious from the pilot angle, what has been like the most surprising thing to you as you're going through this? Because you probably, again, even though you're not supposed to live in the future, you had a vision of what this would look like. And is that coming to fruition, or what has really surprised you?
That I'm going to be a pilot.
Okay, that too.
that I'm doing this. that I can fly an airplane and not die. Those are all.
Let's just get real here. This is what I'm really excited about. I love it.
Like, I love that. Like,
I'm dying as I fly the plane.
Yeah, that's the most surprising thing. Yeah, that's
a great answer.
And it's happening, and it's completely not what I thought I would be doing, and how I'm doing it, and just, yeah, that's the biggest, the most unexpected thing, is that I said I was going to do it, and I'm doing it. It's happening, and so yeah,
that is so cool. I mean, part of it's got to feel a little bit like an adrenaline rush, because even as you say it, I could hear that.
Oh, it's the best thing ever. Like, and how I describe it is, flying an airplane is the closest I've ever felt to having an actual superpower. And it's because I can fly,
Yeah.
The first time I went up with my instructor, and he was like, "Hey, you're going to take off." I was like, "What? I can't take off." He's like, "Yeah, you can. It's easy. You just throttle and then pull back and you're fine." And I was like, "What?" And then it's like, you become like an adrenaline junkie, like with that power, you feel that rev up, and you get your 50 RPM, you pull back, and it just like, and up you go. And it's just like, yes, like you just get so high on that.
Whew.
It's
I think I'm in the wrong profession.
maybe.
As a formal flyer, I'm like, it's all you, Ashley.
Well, did you say you're a terrible flyer?
I'm a fearful flyer. Yeah.
Well, what did we say about fear, Shauna?
That's true. I'm getting on a plane tomorrow, so I'll channel that.
Well, and also, I obviously in my current profession see a lot of people who are afraid of flying, and it's really just it's a control thing. It's a lack of understanding, because you don't know how to fly the plane. So if something terrible happened, you couldn't fix it, right?
So true.
And that's what it is. And I usually will sit down and explain how the plane works, and how we can't just fall out of the sky. It's not a thing. It's not going to happen. It's physics won't allow it. It's not possible.
I love the way your brain just puts it so kind of analytically, matter-of-factly. It's refreshing. It really is.
Yeah. Well, I had to learn that. So definitely. And, I still, get emotional about things, and, you have to give it its moment, you know?
You're still human. You're not a robot.
That was exactly what I thought. I'm like, well, you're not, you're human.
Have your moment, be afraid, but then say, why am I really afraid though? What's actually scary about this? Yeah,
just that simple question can just take it right back home.
Yeah. What is actually really scary? What am I really afraid of? So, yeah, not flying.
I'll channel it tomorrow as I get on the plane.
Yeah, definitely. Channel me tomorrow.
So talk to us about the discovery flight, because we've had a few women in aviation on the Red Bra Project, and they have all referenced their discovery flight. And I feel like for anybody who tunes into this episode and is listening and thinking about a career in aviation and becoming a pilot, it feels like that discovery flight is amazing, and you can kind of figure it out pretty quickly. But please give us some insight.
Well, my discovery flight was kind of interesting because we almost didn't get to go because of the weather. And Krista was great, and I really connected with Krista too because, you know, we knew each other a little bit from before, and so, you know, we were catching up, and it was, you know, snowing a little bit and a little bit cloudy, and she was afraid to take me up because she didn't want to scare me. She's like, I don't want to, if we go up and it is bumpy, like, I don't want to scare you and have you not want to do this. And I was like, I'm not scared. I want to go. Let's do it. We're going. I want to go. And so she finally broke down, and we went, and you know, we didn't do anything too fancy, but it was just the same thing. You just you know, you push the throttle up and away you go. And it's much cooler in a smaller airplane too, because in a 737, which is what I'm on, you don't really feel it, you know, but when you're in a little plane, it's all compact, and every turn and every, you know, you feel it. And what my discovery flight was on a Diamond, a DA-20, and it has, so do you know what a yoke is? A yoke versus a joystick?
Mm-hmm.
A yoke is like, you know, with the two handles that you hold, it's kind of more like a steering wheel, but then a joystick is just the one, and it's like, you know, right between your legs. And that was kind of weird because you're like, it's such a small airplane and you've got a little joystick between your legs, and it's just, yeah, I don't know, it was so crazy. It was like a real life video game, and you're like, this is like, I don't know, it was a really cool experience. I do prefer the yoke to the joystick, I will say, for the control thing, because I just feel more in control when I've got two handles to hold on to if I need to, even though really one hand's almost always on the throttle and the other on but that's besides the point. But I definitely feel more secure with the yoke in a 172 versus the Diamond. But yeah, no, it was great. And it was great to go up with a girl. So I'm really glad I made that connection. And I can't even speak to why that's a comfort thing for women, but I think, I don't know, just it just seeing someone, you know, that you can relate to doing that is you know, it's just, I don't know, it's more fun. It's more fun, and it's less threatening, and you know, it was way more at ease, and yeah, so no, it was great. Discovery flight was awesome. So, and then I went up with her again before I was able, because the school that I'm going to, they delayed their startup. But I'd already gotten into my ground school, and I was like, can we go up again? But this time we went up, we had better weather, and we got to do some spins and some stalls and steep turns, and she showed me some more stuff, and that one was almost more fun than my discovery flight, because I had a better understanding, and we got to do some crazy stuff. So.
And is this co-pilot, is this female pilot's name Natasha?
No.
Okay.
Krista.
Okay. All right. I didn't know if that was your mentor who.
No. My mentor, Tash, is actually from dance. I'm a dancer, kind of. Or I was.
Dancer, kind of.
Yeah. I used to dance a bit. And I met her through dance, and yeah, she's definitely my shout out and inspiration. And yeah, just because, like I think I said on your questionnaire there, she's just allowed me to blossom, you know. She's like, and I've had lots of different mentors and lots of teachers through dance and otherwise, and she kind of just lets you flow. It's like she just understands that there's a process, and that all of her students make mistakes, and they're going to, and they have to. And then that's, you know, part of their becoming. And, yeah. And she's really special that way. And I don't even dance very much anymore, but I still talk to her about just about everything. And anytime something's happening, I reach out to her still, and, you know, can talk to her about it. And whenever, you know, I can be in a total panic about something, and she'll just say, it's okay. It's going to be fine. You know, it's just where you are right now, and that's okay. You know? And I think that's, you know, that's how I've, you know, again, from the questionnaire, how do you, you know, empower and support women? And it's just that. It's watching and allowing their process, you know, and not hovering and saying, oh, you should have done this or you should have done that. And that's something I've gotten from every pilot I've met since I started my license. You know, don't go here, go here. Don't do it this way, do it that way. You know, make sure when you're building your hours for your commercial that you're doing this rating, that rating, this rating, you know, and that you know, and don't, like, just everyone's got their way. Like, this is how you should do it. And everyone will impose what they think is best. But really what they're telling you is what's best for them, and what would have been best for them. Right. But, Tash and you know, myself, how I try to support women and just everyone is to allow that process to happen, you know, allow those fears to happen, you know, let people experience their fears, and learn that they can get past them, you know, that it's all part of the process. So, yeah, and just, it's okay. All these things are okay. All the bad things are it's going to be okay. You know, so feel it, enjoy it, you know, learn, grow. Yeah. So
there are so many takeaways that I hope the viewers of this episode get from everything you're sharing, but especially when you were describing your flight and just your passion for your new career. I think that there are so many people that are afraid to take that leap, make that change, because it's not what they planned, or it's not the easy way to go. Again, it's pushing through that fear, but that joy you had as you described that flight, I hope that just the viewers see that and it really resonates with them if they're grappling with a decision like that.
yes, well, and I mean with anything, and I think that's how you know something's right, is how it makes you feel, right?
Yeah.
We're lucky we have an internal guidance system that's just there, right? And if you take a minute and you listen to it, it's going to tell you what's right. You know, anytime you make a bad decision, you knew it was a bad decision. You know, you can pretend you did. You can pretend you didn't think that. You can say you didn't. Yeah. You know, but you knew it wasn't right, because there was that feeling that said, "Oh, I don't know about this." And that's another takeaway from my mentor. She always says, "If your gut says no, it's a hell no. If your gut says yes, it's a hell yes. If your gut says maybe, it's still a hell no." Right? And that just,
right?
Yeah, exactly. Listen to it. Wait for that yes. Wait for that hard yes. You know? So, and then run with it.
So much good stuff tonight.
I'm happy you think that.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think everybody will as they're hearing your story, and whether or not it's a career in aviation they want, I think it's just that passion you have for following your dreams and not being afraid to change the course or go after what you want.
Well, and I mean, even if it doesn't work out, like, at least you tried, and maybe like maybe like, look at Lisa, right? Like, how she started as flight attendant and became a mechanic. So maybe, you know, maybe you're not sure if you want to be a pilot, but you want to try it, and maybe you'll go flying and you're like, I don't know if I want to fly, but airplanes are cool. Maybe I want to be a mechanic, you know? So, like, there's so many things that along the way that can change your course. And if you feel a passion for something, there's a reason that passion's there. If you're feeling that magnetism towards something, there's a reason. Go figure out what it is. Explore.
So Ashley, do you think that you would give the same advice to a woman thinking about becoming a pilot or just getting involved in aviation who is, say, 18, 22, 32, 39, 40. So go ahead.
Well, just, yeah, it doesn't matter. Age doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And it also doesn't matter if you have kids, if you don't have kids, if you're married, if you're not married, if you have a pet, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. One of the biggest things that people have said to me since taking a career in aviation, and as a flight attendant too, is, well, don't you want to have kids? Like, yes, maybe. We'll see. But what does that have to do with anything? Oh, well, you can't have kids if you're a pilot. Sure, I can. Lots of pilots have kids, but it's a thing that it's like something people have about women. It's that, they feel A, that we need to have kids, which not all women do, but B, that we can't have big, exciting careers because we need to be home with the kids. And I get that. And I respect women that need to be home with their kids if that's the type of mother you are. But I work with tons of flight attendants that are mothers, and a lot of them will work one-day pairings so that they're home every day. But sometimes mommy needs 24 hours in Barbados to keep her happy, So whatever works for, each individual person. And if you want, to be a pilot and have a family and be home every day, you can be a flight instructor, and then you'll be home every day. Or you can, there's so many facets to aviation. You don't have to be, away for 6 days at a time, or you don't have to go fly, 2-month contracts in Europe. There's so much. There's so many different ways to build your life in aviation, or as a pilot, that it just, don't listen to anybody. You can make it, again, illusion. These things are all illusions and all beliefs and just thoughts that we keep telling ourselves. And it stops us from doing things. But
so it sounds like there's many different paths in aviation. If somebody's thinking about getting in it, but they think, oh, I want to do this with my life as well, so I can't do that. That doesn't mean it's a direct no. It just means explore and find out, which is a great segue into if people want to reach out to you, if women want to reach out to you, are you open to chatting?
Please. I would love that. I would love that. And I don't know, you might have seen, I did feature some female pilots before I went up north last. And they were all different. And I tried to, I featured someone who has kids and whose husband's a pilot, and she carried her kids while she was flying, and and then another girl who was engaged and planning her wedding and working on her license, and then another girl who's single and has a dog, you can make it work for you. It is such a diverse industry, and there's so many options, and I would love to hear from anyone who's thinking about it. And absolutely, I would love that. So that's the point. That's the whole purpose of sharing my story, is I want people to reach out. So yeah.
And I love the options. I like the availability of options. So
yeah,
it's not a one size fits all, nothing in life is. So that's really cool.
Oh, absolutely not. There's so many, and even, at at WestJet, there's the option for people to request just one day flying, and you just go and you do, you go to Miami and back and you go home, and that's your day, right? If you don't want to go away for 5 days at a time, you don't have to. And that's even at larger airlines, So, but where I work up north, they're home every night, right? And if you're a flight instructor, you're working at flight school, you're home every night. So it's just, it's funny things that we tell ourselves and teach ourselves, that this is going to stop me from doing this because. So, and even, yeah, it's just, we're funny. Humans are funny. We're funny. So we're our own worst enemy. And but there's, all of that is illusion. If you want something, it's yours. You just have to be brave enough to do it, to say, I want that. I'm going to do it. So.
You talked a little bit about your superpower, being able to actually fly. And when we think about the red bra, we think about that as a superpower, whether it's hidden under our clothes or on the outside and people can see it. But when you think about it in those terms, what would you say is one of your red bra moments?
Well, for my flight test, so I still have to do the written exam, but I did the actual in the plane, flight examination. And where I was in Fort Smith, it's what's called a mandatory frequency, which means it's really chill. The radio, the air traffic control, like you just got to tell somebody what you're doing. So when I was ready for my flight test, they called Transport Canada to get an examiner up to Fort Smith to do it, but they would not send anyone because they only had one student. So they were going to be sending someone just for me, and it was too expensive. They wanted at least 2 students. And I was so upset. And I just thought, I came all this way and I've spent all this money and I've done all these hours, and I'm not gonna be able to do it, or I'm gonna have to go do it somewhere else with a plane that I don't know, or like, and different airport, yada, yada, yada. So my flight instructor found a few different options, and the best option was that I fly the plane to Fort McMurray into a control zone for the very first time and do my flight test, which was terrifying.
By yourself?
No, he came with me.
Okay. I was going to say, how does that work?
I could, but he came with me. But even still, your first experience in a control zone to be your flight test was super intense, and I didn't want to do it. I wanted just any possible option, and then one of the other options was there was an examiner who had his own plane who would fly up if I paid for him to fly up. And I just thought, I'm going to spend $1,000. It might as well be towards hours that I'm building, So I said, all right, let's do it. We're going. And down we went. And then I was so nervous because I wasn't used to the airport, and there was so many people, and we took off for my flight test, and I just heard everybody chirping in my, talking to ATC, and I was just like, get out of my head. Like, it was so much, it was so intense. But I was like, I'm not leaving here without doing my flight test. I'm not. Yeah. And I guess that's the most recent one for me, I guess, was doing that. And it just, determination, right? Because I was like, enough. I'm not leaving. I'm doing this. You're doing it. You're doing it. You're going to pass. It's going to be awesome. And I did, and I passed, and it was awesome. So, yeah.
Congrats to you.
Thank you.
That is a red bra moment for sure.
Oh my gosh, yeah, and there's no turning around once you say, okay, I'm there, I'm coming now. You're up in the sky.
Exactly. So, yeah, but I thought about coming down and trying to find another place to do it. But the thing is, when you get out of practice, like, it's something you want to be doing fairly regularly, especially before an exam, right? So, because if I had come down, it would have taken a few weeks probably to find another spot, and I would have wanted to go up in the plane a few times and get used to the airport and, all of that. So I was just like, no, this has to happen. It has to happen. We got to do it. We're going. And I was totally freaked out the whole time. But it worked out fine. So there. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, Ashley, where can viewers find you if they want to use you as a mentor or ask you all these questions?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at aviate_her. And yeah, just drop me a message. I'm posting stuff when I'm flying or when I'm doing either kinds of flying. When I'm flying in the front or if I'm working in the back, I'm posting about my layovers and all kinds of fun stuff that I'm doing when I'm not up north. So yeah, and please reach out. I'd love to hear from anybody. So yeah.
That's so awesome. And we'll make sure to kind of connect everything and give you all the ways to connect with Ashley. And thank you guys all for being here. And I'm just going to do a quick little thank you. And of course, Ashley, if you've watched any of our episodes, you know that we end every show with a quote. And I know Shauna has one picked out for you, but I just want to say thank you to everybody for tuning in. And if you hear this story and you think about somebody who could really appreciate it, please share with them. Take a second and like what you hear. Come and follow us at the Red Bra Project and nominate another incredible woman who has a story to share as well. We feature all kinds of stories from all over the globe. So Ashley, thank you for your time tonight. It really means a lot that you were with us. We're honored to have you.
Thank you so much. It's been my pleasure.
I always love when I select a quote too. And as I'm going through the episode, I was like, yes, this is the one, this is it. And I kept thinking that as we were learning more and more about you. And the quote is, we cannot become what we want by remaining what we are. And it's by Max Dupree. And I just think that's so you, because
Perfect.
you didn't just stay where you were. You knew you had to push through this fear. And it's everything you kind of talked about tonight. And I'll echo everything Renee said. Just a beautiful story. And I feel so honored to be here with you tonight.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. It's been so much fun.
Well, thank you, everybody. I'm going to do the closing because I haven't in a while, if that's okay. So make sure, if you have not already, hit that bell and subscribe to the Red Bra Project. It's up in the corner. There's a bell. There's a subscribe button. Hit it all. Get alerts for our upcoming videos so that you can meet wonderful people like Ashley and future upcoming guests. We are so glad you joined us tonight. Follow us at theredbraproject.com or at the Red Bra Project on Instagram, and that way you can get all the information about Ashley and our other guests as well. So thank you again, Ashley. We look forward to following your journey.
Thank you so much again.
Bye, guys. Bye, everybody. Have a great night.